More than 6 months after the crisis first erupted in Manipur, the state is on the boil again. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo story. The images coming out of Manipur are disturbing once again. It has been the last 24 hours, that is, stories of abductions, allegations of kidnapping, police firing, and even a dramatic rescue of police commandos caught on camera. Kuki tribal groups are issuing a 24-hour ultimatum saying they're not responsible for the consequences after alleging that 4 members of a soldier's family have been kidnapped. Meitei groups are protesting after 2 teenagers have gone missing. They're pointing a finger at Kuki groups after the phones of these teenagers are reportedly recovered from tribal-dominated areas. The larger question is, how can this still be happening in a state that has been on the boil for more than 6 months? When will there be some solution, some resolution, some reconciliation found to this dangerous simmering crisis? Well, we haven't taken our eye off Manipur, even as it threatens to become India's forgotten headline. Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look at the new fault lines, actually the old fault lines, because they never really were healed, that have been wrenched open in the last 24 to 48 hours. Joining us on the program today, first let me welcome on the program, if we can have our banners up, please, Colonel Gaurav Chaturvedi. He's, of course, been a former commandant of the Assam Rifles. Welcome to the program, sir. Also joining us on the program now is Dr. Tombing. Let me welcome him to the program. He is an assistant professor at the National Law University in Assam. Welcome to the program. And also joining us on the program is Dr. Malam Ningthauja. He's an author and an activist. Thank you very much. I'm just going to play for you 19 seconds of that really captured, in a sense, the familiarity of the strife and the conflict and the tension in Manipur. Take a look and we'll begin our conversation. The familiar sound of guns in the air, firing in the air as thousands of weapons continue to be in civilian control. I don't know where Dr. Tombing went, but I'm sure he'll be able to reconnect us. Let me start with Colonel Chaturvedi. Sir, your first thoughts on what's happening in the state. It's been more than 6 months now.
I think, I have been following Manipur quite closely. And I think suddenly there has been an increase in activities again of, on the unlawful side, or maybe both sides are getting quite aggressive all over again. I was assuming in between that, okay, just like every other time, decades ago, it keeps happening and it will now slowly get back to normalcy. It will limp back to normalcy. But, this one is this incident which I have closely watched with Assam Rifle rescuing Imphal Police commandos somewhere near Meitei, if I am not wrong. And this incidentally, I have served in this area of Kangpokpi and Singda Dam and Kangchuk. My company operating base was there. I used to visit it almost every week. So I'm quite familiar with the area. All these areas which are being spoken about were never really, if you can say, it always lurked, the danger always lurked behind you, in the background. But they were never really so active. If you're passing Kangpokpi, I used to generally say, okay, it's Kangpokpi, we'll pass, don't worry. But what is happening is, I think there's been a spurt in activities again, and we need to figure out as to how has this happened and what has made this happen all over again.
Yeah, actually, I would have to say that probably it never, when you don't resolve something, you can put a patti on something, but you take the patti off and the wound is still there. The wounds never healed, the issues were never addressed. There's a de facto partition, as it were, of the state. Even the language used is language like buffer zones, crossing the buffer zone, the border. This is how a state has been de facto divided. And I want to just bring in perspectives, both from Dr. Tombing and Dr. and Malim. But I want to just say that 2 things have happened in the last 24 hours. Both communities have said that there are members of their community that have been abducted. The Meitei community is saying that 2 teenagers have gone missing. This is bringing back memories of the last horrific incident that took place, where photographs that seem to show the bodies of 2 teenage students were found. This is bringing back those memories. The Kuki groups have given a 24-hour ultimatum. If we can show that as well, as 4 members of a soldier's family have been abducted, and they have given a 24-hour ultimatum. This is, of course, the images you're seeing is the abduction of the Meitei students. But as I said, the Kuki groups have also given such an ultimatum. Dr. Tomik, let me start with you. What is actually going on here? What is happening? We're back to firing, abductions, kidnappings. Obviously, nothing seems to have got really better. Dr. Tomik.
What I see is there was a lull before the storm, and we thought that maybe by arresting some straw men, we would have achieved something, and then things might come back to certain kind of a normalcy. But my observation is that the social fabric of Manipur has been totally torn apart. It has been burned. It has been razed. It has been murdered. In such a scenario, my humble observation and simple observation and direct observation is that there is a absolute abdication of trying to bring the ethnic communities to a table to talk about maybe a prospect of a better future. And what has also happened in between is that meanwhile, as there was a lull, people have not really reconciled to the idea and notion of whatever hatred has been happening. And I see this as a manifestation of highly infantile, vicious, and collective tyranny, which has been propagated, which has been indoctrinated, and that fire has been kept alive. I'm saying this for the very reason that there has been a video circulated whereby a certain leader has in fact invigorated thousands of young men, a civilian who are now totally armed, trained maybe also, and then asking them and then invigorating them to march towards More and to Chandpur in thousands, maybe 10,000s also. This is full-on tribalism played out for ethnic war. It's not even an ethnic clash anymore.
It's not an ethnic clash. So what is it? How would you describe it today, Dr. Tomik?
I think it's a war now.
I think it's a
Full-on
war. I'll
war.
tell you, it's a full-on war, no longer an ethnic clash. Those are very serious words,
Yeah.
Dr. Malim. Would you agree with that description, Dr. Malim? Sir, please, can we yeah, go ahead.
I would say this is a disturbance to democracy and peace. Most of the peoples who believe in the idea of collective coexistence have been deeply hurt by these situations that's going on. I don't want to blame it to anybody, but I would definitely say that this law and order problem also has got certain political dimensions with the diabolic designs from the various sections. Anything that comes up in the media, in the press, could sensitize the issue and violate the situations. Now, like on 24th October, the particular organization says that they need to escalate and prepare for war and stock it and everything before the harvesting sessions and before the winter parliament took place, so that there can be political pressures to place their demands. The problem is that these kinds of statements can sensitize the situations, and then and the expected peace got disturbed again. I would not like to point figure to a particular group or any other things for the time being, but I would like to say that forces that do not believe in collective idea are largely responsible for this, and everybody is expecting something from the central government. And I wish that the central government has got the guts to at least control this disturbance so that gradually peace is returned, and then there is a way to find out solutions to resettle the displaced peoples and also address the grievances of the affected peoples who everybody's got affected. This is my first observation.
Right. But politics, Dr. Malim, has always been at the heart of this. There's always been politics at the heart of this. Now, for 6 months, there's been politics. What is the way forward?
No, see, this is the problems that India has been going through for the last many decades. I would not divide between politics and economics and or interest. Rather, it's a kind of the political economic system that is fully involved in this. Some peoples with vested interest for personal political gains and economic gains are playing with communal cards here and there. And it is very dangerous for all of us.
Okay, let me bring in Colonel Chaturvedi here. Colonel Chaturvedi, do you still see a way forward? Do you see any way forward?
Ma'am, what my view in this is a little different from everyone else. Okay, I respect everyone else's view also. I'm not into getting into any argument with anyone. Firstly, refrain from, I would not call it a war situation or anything. Having been through wars also, so it's a little, but yes, the way forward has to be that, we have to form a multi-diversity dialogue group in which the leaders of various communities are brought in together, and they have to be brought in by people who are passionate about, about Manipur or maybe the Northeast in general and Manipur in particular, and not by, armchair, commentators and all. Maybe the people like one of the people whom I can often remember is people like Major Muhammad Ali Shah. People who have been following it with so much of passion that and who have been through the whole thing. Who have been through the region, who know the area. That is the only way forward. And also, it is very, very important to have a multi-party dialogue on. I mean, why is it not on so far? I'm surprised. Or maybe it is on and we don't know about it. That is the only way forward. Every time such situations have happened, I've been through a situation like this. I mentioned earlier also. We got everyone together and we had a long dialogue. I mean, for 3-4 months. But luckily, it was controlled by us, and we could do a lot of things. And yeah, all parties have to step back. The armed forces also would have to take some actions to maybe mitigate their actions, and the other parties, the aggrieved parties, would also have to pardon a lot of people. That is the only way forward. And yes, the disadvantages of a kind of informatory address by someone going out of proportion into the environment is always there, and that has to be controlled, and people have to be responsible while making statements.
Let me bring in Dr. Tombing on this point, because you said it's no longer an ethnic strife; it's a war. I will tell you that from my early reports in Manipur, that's what the language being used even back then. That this is a war and that we have to arm ourselves to protect ourselves. Now, Colonel is talking about an intra-community or an inter-community dialogue. Who should take the initiative to start this dialogue, Dr. Tombing? The center, the state government? Where did the dialogue start?
See, the problem has become very complex because of almost no action being initiated, which is qualitative, and then which could have impacted an idea of bringing people together for talk and all that. And then I have seen through some sources that people do go visit the central government, meet the home minister, etc., and all that, and then they come back, and what we see is that meanwhile there is muffling of voices of send voices in the Imphal Valley area. I'm talking about I think the human rights activist Mr. Loitam. Then we have seen that Bindra has also been muffled now, and then meanwhile. It seems from certain videos which have become viral, people have been preparing for a certain war, and then it seems there is a supply of ammunitions. In fact, armories were looted again, and people are also supporting and then providing war-related or some kind of a life jacket types, fatigue dresses and all that. And in such a situation, what I have already said, I would like to reiterate. It seems we have already destroyed the entire idea and the fabric of what Manipur is, because the spark of the problem, to an extent, was the Manipur High Court attempt to recognize ST status. And then when you go back to the constitutional provision of ST, the idea of being a scheduled tribe is to bring about a harmonious coeval coexistence, so that you create a more egalitarian society. And now we are not even no one seems to be bothered about a coeval, harmonious, and egalitarian society. And what it has now transcended into is full-time barbarism in some contexts, and then also maybe tribalism at its worst. And then it has maybe made people highly tyrannical collectively, and everybody is lying to one another. How do you
I think
solve
those are
that? It's a big-
I think that's a very honest question, that there's tribalism, everybody's lying to everybody. There's also, Dr. Malim, a breakdown of institutional authority. What is the institution today that has the moral authority to maybe even begin a dialogue between both communities? Dr. Malim?
Yeah. What's the question?
What is the institution, according to you, if any, that has the moral authority today for the people across communities to begin a dialogue? Who or what can begin the dialogue?
See, when there is a hope, when there is peoples or sections of peoples are still having hope to benefit from this disturbance, and when these sections of peoples are very powerful, not allowing democratic voices to rise up, be it in the valley or be it in the hills, obviously this crisis will go on, and politicians or whosoever sectarian forces trying to fish out of this muddy water will obviously indulge. But every problems or crisis in the history has an ending point, and obviously people like me, and if Professor Thombing would like to be a part of it, we are working hard so that when this situation got escalated down, or when the time comes up, then we raise our voice together within the communities, or among the communities, or across the boundaries, so that some kind of peaceful solution is retained. It's not that this disturbance has been happening for the first time. We have learned experiences, series of communal classes where one particular community has been involved always, and there is always a way and the solutions to restore peace. And we believe in peace because however ambitious these community leaders are, they are very small people. Everybody, they can't live alone. They have to live together. They have to fight together. If there is a systematic institutional breakdown, it has to be the responsibility of all. So I do not want to be biased. I still have hope. I want to learn and experience from these disturbances and bring out the solutions. And I invite Mr. Thombing, Professor Thombing, to be part of it, and the Colonel to be part of it. We all have to play a positive role.
I think that's very well said, and I thank you for saying that. Colonel Chaturvedi, let me give you the last word. You've spoken about individuals who have nothing to do with politics who could take such an initiative, but let's talk for a moment in the end about the national security implications of this prolonged strife.
National security implication, the most important is that where are these weapons coming from, first of all, and why is there such an uninhibited supply of ammunition? How can it come? I mean, it has to come from somewhere across only. I fail to believe, having been in Manipur for 6-7 years of my life, that there are underground shelters and all those things full of ammunition. It's not there. People are very simple in those areas, be it Meiteis, be it and tribals. I wish to bring out as a last word that this is just the right time, because Christmas is just around the corner. It is a major festival in the Northeast, and starting from 4th of December, there'll be that Advent Christmas, when they welcome Christmas. This is just the right time to start off a dialogue, because then it will carry on right up till February. And this is the time when everybody in the valley, or in the Manipur Valley, or in the hills, would prefer to have peace, or maybe a ceasefire, or maybe a cease in activities of the nefarious. This is just the right time to start it.
Well, I hope somebody is paying heed to the voices of hope that continue to speak up. The end of the year, a festival season, from starting with Diwali now to Christmas at the end of the month. But even as we say this, let's remind ourselves that there are two sets of abductions that both communities, that either community are talking about. So it's a very serious situation. We thank you, Professor Tombing, Dr. Malim, and Colonel Chaturvedi as ever. And we continue to remain focused on Manipur. In many ways, it's fallen off the news headlines, which is an unacceptable situation, because it's a very, very serious situation there. And Manipur deserves more of our attention. Thank you very much. Take care and see you tomorrow.
Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.